Rev up your engines! Today, using this old Lexus, I'm going to tell you why I wouldn't buy a new Lexus. Now, Lexus has been making quality cars for quite some time. My wife owns a 2002 ES300. This is a 2005 ES330. They're both excellent cars. And they were both purchased used. And they've got years of life left in them. So why wouldn't I buy a new one? Well, 2005 has a 3.3 liter variable valve timing V6 naturally aspirated engine. There's no GDI fuel injection system, a V6 engine hooked up to a very dependable automatic transmission. They have a combination of power and smoothness that makes them really nice luxury cars. Today in Lexus, the standard version has a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, which to me relates to two particular problems. These are luxury cars. You want good acceleration, smoothness, not choppiness. You switch out this V6 engine, smooth, to a 4-cylinder turbo. They're choppier. They got to be revving higher in a 4-cylinder to get the same horsepower out. They're just a different animal. People are buying a luxury car when they get a Lexus. They don't care about a few miles per gallon here or there. They want a nice, smooth, reliable engine that can last a long time. In terms of lifespan, they can never go as long as these. One, the turbos are going to wear out. A 4-cylinder engine with both turbocharging and gasoline direct injection. The GDI increases the pressure. The turbo increases the pressure. It's only a 4-cylinder engine. They just wear out faster. And they start burning oil at a much earlier lifespan too. Get in one of these old ones with the V6, then get in the Turbo 4, you'll think, hey, the 6 just runs better, smoother. It's a proven design that can last a really long time. Turbochargers take exhaust gas, they spin them, then the other side sucks in air and rams high pressure air into the engine. Increases the pressure inside the engine cylinders too, so they wear out faster. Now, on paper, turbocharged engines are rated to get better gas mileage because the turbocharging is relatively free. It's taking exhaust gas to spin it. There's no belt or anything, right? So you're getting free energy ramming the air in. This is on dynamometers, on testing equipment. Then they come up with their gas mileage ratings. Well, in the real world, people with turbos tend to drive faster. I had a Mustang turbo I drove once for a week. Ford gave it to me to test it out, right? And it was only rated at like, I don't know, 12 miles a gallon in town. I got 3. So that's 1/4 of what it's supposed to get because I was driving it hard. So the myth of turbos getting better gas mileage is just that for most drivers, plus they're going to wear out faster. I would not buy a base model Lexus. I would not buy a 4-cylinder turbo. I want my vehicles to last as long as possible and to get the best gas mileage in real driving conditions. Not some fantasy machine test, but in actual driving conditions. Forget all the baloney, follow the money. Of course, they would rather have the cars wear out faster, so you buy another one. In the case of a V6 versus a 4-cylinder engine, cheaper to make a 4-cylinder engine than a V6. So it costs them less to make, which is what a lot of their bottom lines are. Don't make them too expensive. For example, the same company, Toyota, they owned Lexus, used to make the Previa van. Those things were insane. They could go 1,000,000 miles. It costs too much money to make that particular design. Unlike the modern Sienna van, the Previa had an engine in the middle, then it had a drive shaft that went to the front, and then the front had a whole assembly with the air conditioner, the water pump, all kinds of stuff. Building that drive shaft, that whole assembly in the front, putting the engine in the middle, it cost too much money for Toyota to make them. They were really well made, but it cost too much to make them. So they replaced them with the Sienna vans that are front wheel drive. So they were just deciding, okay, costs too much to make this little minivan that can run forever, so we're going to replace it with something else that costs us less money to build with stuff we already have lying around. Now, sometimes cheapness leads to the demise. As far as I'm concerned, this old 94 Celica is one of the best they ever made because around 2000 or so, they went to that really weird looking Celica. If you're a fan of the science fiction show Red Dwarf, kind of looked like the Crichton robot, really kind of angular thing, right? They were so much cheaper to make than these. They were thousands of dollars less when they first came out with the Celica than these older style ones that were really well built. And guess what happened? Now they don't make Celicas anymore. That finished the brand off. They put in little bitty engines that revved really high. A bunch of them blew up. The cars were cheaper, tinnier. They decided, okay, let's make these cheaper. Well, that was the end of the Celica. Now, kind of to add insult to injury, this car was made in Japan. And this isn't the top end Lexus, of course. It's the 300 series. But you can see it's made in Japan. A lot of the cheaper ones, the Yeses, they're made in Kentucky. They're not making them in Japan anymore. The real expensive ones are, the fanciest ones. If something is not made in Japan by a Japanese company, I'm always somewhat suspect. Sure, the engines and trannies still come from Japan, but, I mean, if I'm going to pay that kind of money for a car, I expect the original people to build it, just like a German car. Hey, I'm not buying a Mercedes. I would have 50 years ago. I'm not going to buy one today, but if I did, I'd want one made in Germany. I don't want one made in Alabama. I've seen too many problems from the ones made in Alabama. And if I want good, smooth power, I want a nice V6. I don't want a turbocharged little 4-cylinder engine that doesn't have the smoothness of this V6. My wife's got, like I say, 2002 ES300, right? I took her for a ride in one of the Turbo 4 Lexuses. She hated the car. She said, I don't like the way it rides. I don't like that kind of chunky acceleration that it has. And I also don't like the extra noise that it makes. These are incredibly quiet engines in an incredibly quiet car. Let's face it, Lexus got a name by making smooth, powerful cars that would last forever. Why would you want to get kind of chunky 4-cylinder engine with a turbo in it to give it more horsepower, not be as smooth, make more noise? To me, it doesn't make sense. They're going against their own market. Why make a luxury car that isn't luxurious, isn't smooth? Well, take this old baby for a spin and you can see. It may be 18 years old, but starts up like a charm. Up it goes. It just has smooth power. Nice and quiet. Not an over-revving engine. Something that can last hundreds of thousands of miles without burning oil, without making clanking noises, just smoothly going, and when you step on the gas, it goes. 18 years later, still a luxury car, still going smooth down the road. And the leather seats are still in great shape. Now, admittedly, I'm a cheapskate and I'd never buy a brand new car, especially a Lexus. The prices are so sky high. But buying used ones like this, you can really get a deal if you shop around. They are luxury cars, so a lot of richer old people drive them. They don't put too many miles on them. You can still find them with low mileage. This guy just bought this thing. It's only got 75,000 miles on it, even though it's 18 years old. And I know a lot of people think, oh, Lexuses, they cost a fortune to fix. Some do and some don't. I always tell people, I am not a fan of the V8 Lexuses because, yes, they have lots of power, but as they break, they cost a small fortune to fix. The V8 was originally a V8, rear-wheel drives. They said, no, Americans want a big V8 with a rear-wheel drive. They made it. They sold the heck out of them. As far as I'm concerned, this is the pinnacle of their engineering. It goes plenty fast enough. You don't need a V8. If you get the same horsepower with a 4-cylinder turbo, you're stressing it too much over time. It doesn't have the same riding experience. It'll go fast. I'm not arguing that. The 4-cylinder turbos will go fast. It's a completely different feeling. It is not a luxury car feeling, which is what these are supposed to be. Now, there are many choices out there. They're still continuing to build regular V6 engines as an option. The 4-cylinder turbos are the standard. And then the fancy 500 Lexuses, they're still making a V8, but they're pushing the 4-cylinder turbo. But then again, you're getting into the expensive 500s. Everything costs more to fix. As I said, gas mileage ratings of turbos often fake. It's a choppier acceleration. People aren't going to be driving around 130, 40 miles an hour. It's against the law, right? Does it really matter what it does at the high end? It's more the low end that you care about, 0 to 60. Normal driving, 30, 40 miles an hour. These have nice, smooth power. The 4s, not so much. And if you don't believe me, road test them, just like I said. Get in. Road test the 6 versus the Turbo 4. You'll see it's a completely different driving experience. I've seen hundreds of these things with 3, 4, 500,000 miles on it. You know how many turbo 4-cylinders I've seen with the original engine and turbos with 3, 4, 5, 600,000 miles? None. The only ones that I saw like that were diesel trucks. It's different than gasoline engines. You really can't compare them when it comes to long life. The diesel engines are more solid built. You get gasoline in your oil, it destroys the engine. Called oil dilution, like some of those Hondas had, right? Well, diesels, they don't have that problem. That's why they can last so long. But for gasoline engines, I've never seen turbos go that long. So if you're going to buy a modern Lexus, at least see if you can still get one that has a V6 engine in it. That's what these things are made for. Case closed. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.